Hey, welcome to the Second Chance Live series. I know that you're probably tired of hearing from me, but I have good news for you, that I have a guest that you get to hear from. His name is Jorge. He's actually a personal friend of mine. He's one of those people that every time I talk to him, I get convicted because he's just such a nice, good, caring, heart-filling person. He's like, they say that you find people who are better than you in certain areas and you hang around them and you get better. And I never forget having dinner, Jorge, with you and your family and being like, I need to step my game up as a father, man, because you guys are so awesome. And so we do highs and lows now at the dinner table because of you guys. So anyways, I love you, brother. He had the opportunity to play professional soccer, and then is now the founder of Upper 90, which takes the platform of sports and teaches life skills with it. And he's a man of God. He's strong in his faith, and he has a beautiful, amazing family, and his priorities are in order. And he's going to talk to us today about his athletic journey, things he learned, things the game he taught him, or things the game has taught him, and then how has he carried that over, not just to help him in his life and his journey, but also to help others. And so I encourage you, if you're tuning in right now or you're watching the replay and you're on Facebook, go ahead and host a watch party. And if you're watching on another platform, but we encourage you, please, to hit the share button. That helps us share this information with others. Jorge has agreed to generously give his time to share his wisdom, knowledge, information with us. And the only thing we ask in return is that you share this information with others. That's how we all get forward. We all know that a lot of people have been hit hard during this time with COVID-19. And one of the ways that we combat the stress that's going on is by listening to encouraging messages, helpful people like my friend Jorge here. So we ask you just to share. And if you have any questions for Jorge, we'll try to capture those in whatever platform you're watching from, and my team will give that to us so you can be able to ask him your questions. So that is enough of me talking. Jorge, my friend, thank you for joining me. Let us know, how did you start, kind of where you're from, and then how did you get into the platform of sports? And please speak in English.
No, thank you, brother. Thank you for having me again. I know you've been a good friend since we met at that. I forgot the name of the restaurant.
The BurgerFi.
BurgerFi, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, we connected through many ways, but that was the beginning. So yeah, bro. I'm from Bogota, Colombia. Hopefully, you guys know that's in South America. We play the sport of football, what they call soccer here in the United States. But yeah, since I was since I remember, soccer is just part of your life. It's like you were born with a soccer ball. You play on the street. You play. All I remember, go to school, come home, and you play at night on the street, either until it's really dark, or your mom or your grandma calls you in because you're in trouble. It's so late. So again, sports is just part of my life. My dad played. My mom was a cheerleader. That's how they met as well. But even I still remember, no joking, but even my dog loved soccer growing up in Colombia. Like I played. So anyway, for me, soccer, football has been part of my life, and to this day, still part of my life in a different level.
I love it, man. Was it like, I'm not, I don't want to assume that your upbringing was the same as mine, but I know for a lot of minorities that sports is kind of like the ticket out of our situations, right? And was that the same for you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I grew up in a country, again, third world country, where I grew up in a great family. A humble family. I was blessed to have a mom and a dad. But yeah, we grew up. We're limited in our means. We always had food at the table, where it was bread and a glass of water. So I never grew up. I don't know. Somebody once said something that really impacted me one time. He said, like, I never knew I was poor until I came to the United States. I grew up thinking, oh, I'm poor. Yeah,
right.
Family and you have friends. But soccer was kind of like the way out. Like, hey, I want to give a better life to my family, to my parents. So yeah, everybody's just hustling hard. You start in your little neighborhood, we call it barrio, and you start playing. And again, there's no referees, there's no coaches. You just playing on the street, and from there, kind of like the top players start coming out, right? And everybody start talking about those kids. and then you start getting connected to some of the local pro teams, and so that's life in South America. Yeah, soccer. The reality is a way to help your family. So which
Hmm.
good. So yeah, growing up for me, that was also part of my story.
And I love it. And how did you make it to play professional soccer? Was it just like luck, or were you actually talented? Did they choose you because you were a minority?
I mean, definitely. I mean, I was blessed. Again, I love the sport throughout my whole life, and no, I was actually at a really young age. I got an opportunity for a tryout in
Mm,
one of the pro teams in my city, and for me, just it was an opportunity to go. And again, I tell in sports like you meet so. I mean, I play against so many athletes that I will say they were better than me. And but I always tell people, pro sports is the dream of many, the reality of a few.
mm,
I believe for me, especially because I'm a man of faith, I just believe that with God's blessing, which He gifted me with the gifts, the skills of soccer, but also part of just showing up and having a passion and effort. And at the end of the day, at that level, you have to be good at what you do. You
right.
have and I got the opportunity really young, and again, I was grateful to play in my country for 3 years, and then that opened more doors to then come here to the United States. So again, I always believe in sports. It takes, is the blessings, but also there's the luck. If there's a coach that has an eye for you, hey, that's good for you because they'll give you opportunities.
Yeah. I love it, man. There's two things I know I want to accomplish before our time ends today. One of those things is I really want to get into what you do with Upper 90 because I just find your work so fascinating, and the exposure that I've been able to be around. I mean, I know I've spoken at your event, annual event twice, and it's every time I come, I get more out of it than what I put into it. And I'd love to get into some of those stories. But before we get there, I want to talk about your transition out of sports, and I mean, just think about being a kid who's from a third world country and has this opportunity to play at such a high level that they say less than 1% of all athletes in the world get to that level, and then you're getting to the point where it's coming to an end for you. How was it like? What was it like transitioning out of sports, and what would you say was the greatest challenges, and how were you able to do so successfully?
Yeah, definitely. And I think for me personally, like I feel like again, being in Colombia, coming to this country to play college soccer, and then after that, continue to play pro. I felt that I was always hustling to look for those opportunities to get that contract. Again,
Hmm.
think about this moving to this country, not knowing how this culture works, not working through an agent. I literally I was hustling to get on a team, and so I always felt that to the point of retirement, every year you're looking for the opportunity. Say I need to get a contract. So again, I felt like I was always looking for more and more opportunities. But for me, coming to the point like, okay, wow, like I'm considering being done. For me, I think it came through the realization that this nonprofit that I've been working and doing work with kids through football, it was taking a lot of my time, and it came a point that man, I want to do more of this. Like I'm enjoying this, but I love the sport too. But it was coming to the realization that I felt like God was leading us now to move in another direction. It was, I have to say, it was challenging because you live in a reality that no matter what level, but if you're in a pro level, you're a pro athlete, right? And people
Hmm.
say, hey, you're a pro athlete. They invite you to come speak to events. They ask, you, I mean, they know who you are, especially in Philadelphia. And then at a moment that's taken away, right? Like you're done. So I think for me, what it helped me through a transition, I would say first of all, just for me in my story, of course, my faith I think equipped me to be able to transition well, knowing that it still was hard, but because there's a faith that hey, there's a purpose for everything,
Hmm.
and God's moving this direction for the next level. It's not that hey, I'm starting from scratch. It's that I'm looking back at all the opportunities that I had. That everything is a step for what God was preparing me. So in a way that helps because hey, it still hurts, but hey, there's hope. God's calling me to the next thing. But I'll be honest with you, it was still difficult because I love the sport. I was at a time where I was married now. I had my first child, And it was amazing how priorities changed. It was not
Hmm.
about Jorge. It became now there's family. But again, if I'm honest with you, I think for me, even to this day, like I'm still involved in the sport, not as a player anymore, but as a coach at a college level with different kids. And even this morning, I was with the local college, and sometimes the coach wants me in the session with the boys. And
Hmm.
if I'm honest with you, every time I go there, I'm always like, okay, I'm scoring today. Like the thing about this, I am 37. I just turned 37. I'm competing against 18, 22-year-old boys that they're at their prime. They're
um,
fast, they're stronger, and I feel for me it's every day a reminder that now, hey, I have an opportunity to still play my sport. Yeah, I'm not at pro level, but I get to play with these boys, learn from them, but at the same time, hey, I'm going to show you today. I enjoy that. I have to be honest. You could tell the difference now being 37. Like, I'm slowing down.
yeah,
Fitness
yeah,
is fun, but anyway, I would say I'll leave that answer the question. But the main thing, just my faith has really helped me during that transition time. Again, it didn't make it easier,
yeah,
uh, but it gave me hope for
yeah.
what's next.
Two questions before I get into something deeper. But how are the Philly cheesesteaks? Are they everything that people say that they are?
Of course, yes. Of course, I go downtown. Uh, Gino's. No, yes, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So the other thing is, so if I hope you understand this terminology is kind of slang, but do you think that you still got it?
Yes, I have to say, fitness is gone, but the touch is still there. It's
Love
still
it, man. Love it. One of the questions that just came to my mind, and then let's get into upper 90. But uh, man, going from a person who grew up in a third world country to now managing a very effective, impactful organization. What did? How were you able to do that? Was it challenging? Because I know a lot of people, their minds can't even think that they'll ever be able to do something like that coming from places like where you come from.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think part of me is like, as an athlete, especially at that level, you have to be competitive, right? You
Mhm.
want. I think competition is good. Like I feel like sometimes people have that negative side, but no, that is good because it elevates you to get better every day. Like even to this day, 37, I stay with those college boys. I'm like, hey, how can I even get better today? And I think I took some of that to now the nonprofit world that I feel like, okay, now this is my soccer game. It's not 90 minutes on the field, but it's like this nonprofit, how can I make it the best thing possible? And it's something that, again, I'm still learning to do it because, again, you go from being a pro athlete where you train, 3 to 4 hours a day, you go home to now you're managing a nonprofit, you're managing, you're leading staff,
Right.
here. But I think in a way, there's some of the similar concept of football sports that hey, you have to have a plan, you have to have a strategy, you have to show up, you have to do your fitness. It just look different. So I think the sports equip me in many ways to what I do now. And again, still challenging, but I think just being a competitive person by nature allows me to lead this organization again, even in the middle of my mistakes, but we keep going, we keep growing. And again, the work that my nonprofit does is through football.
Mhm.
So that's the one thing talking about how to transition after pro sport. For me personally, the blessing that God allowed me is that the sport is still part of what I do.
Right.
And I know that's not for every pro athlete. I get it. For me,
Right.
I said, okay, God gave me these skills, allow me to
Right.
play, and then the next chapter of my life, the thing that's still in common, football is still there.
Hmm.
I was just not scoring goals for a game. The way we score now is by equipping lives to win in life. So again,
Hmm.
advantage that I think I'm grateful for that I'm still in the sport. It's just that the scoreboard looks different.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. Talk about upper 90 and where did the vision for this organization come from? And I'd love to hear, especially for our audience who is new to your organization, what do you guys do and what are some impact stories that you can share with us?
Definitely, bro. Again, Upper 90, I mean, if you're new to the sport of soccer, if you think about Upper 90, think about the soccer goal. You have a soccer goal. and the soccer goal has two upper 90-degree angles. Okay, 90-degree angles. Those are the toughest goals to score because you have to bend that ball, you have to shoot it hard with pace. But if you score upper 90, no matter how good that keeper it is, it's gonna go in, and the crowd goes crazy. So why upper 90 for us? For us is because in soccer they're difficult to score, but in life we serve families and children that they have a lot of struggles in their lives, and we want to partner with them, come alongside them, so that they can score the greatest goals in life, which for
Mm.
me is faith, purpose, and education. I'll start from the last one, education. A lot of the kids that we serve, most of them end up dropping out of school for many reasons. One of them is that their parents never even finish their own education, so they might don't see the value. Uh,
Hmm.
they don't get the support that from their parents with school because maybe they don't speak the English. So I believe education is a key component uh, to go to the next level in life. So through football, we provide something that they want, soccer, in order to provide what they really need, which is a key mentor relationship in their life. That through life skills on the soccer field, we put them, yeah, you're gonna win soccer, but we want you to win in life. So to give you an example, like perseverance, it's a life skill that no matter what you do, you need perseverance. So
Hmm.
we use that through football. Hey, how can you persevere on the soccer field? Hey, how that look like in the classroom? Like there's a class that you're just struggling with. Hey, perseverance. The way you did it on that soccer field. Hey, how
Yeah.
can you apply the same concepts in the classroom? So we try to again leverage this thing of sports
Hmm.
to equip these children with these life skills that we believe will equip them not just to graduate from high school, but even beyond that. Like, because graduating high school is going to be a huge goal for their lives. A lot of the
Right.
people we serve, to give you an example, we had this kid, Brian, and he graduated high school. He was the first one in his family to ever graduate high school.
Mm.
He's actually about, I think he has a year left for college now. But again, now this kid went from being a player and then he became one of our mentors. Now,
Right.
he's a kid in his own community. He's now coaching kids in his community. Which think about the impact. Like, I can show up, be a mentor coach, that's great. But now these kids see this kid, Brian, and they're like, wait, Brian is one of us. And he graduated high school. Hey, he did it. I can do that too. Hey, Brian now is in college. If he did that, I can do that. So again, for us, again, we wanna to leverage the platform of the world sports football to empower children to win on the field and in life and to win with purpose. So that's what Open Night does.
Mm. Love it, man. Love it. And what would you say is maybe one of your favorite stories of throughout the years that you guys have been able to accomplish as an organization?
As an organization, I will say even recently, again, we were blessed to before Open Night, we were able to for many years we served all under the umbrella of another organization. As when I retired, I was blessed to have this partnership with a large organization. A great work this organization does, but what we did was different, and that's where kind of we felt led by God that it was time for us to kind of create our own organization, have independence, to have a greater goal, and we made that happen last year. And it was a challenging time just because now you have to lead the whole thing. But for me personally, it's amazing that it's been now 2 years, and to see how that has blessed the impact of what we do have in our own culture and our identity. And for me personally, again, being able to build something from nothing to where it is now,
Hmm.
for me, it's just really humbling because when I look at myself, man, where I come from, and I'm like, wow, like anybody with a desire, with a dream, can make things happen. And again, of course, God's hands been to that. So I would say recently that's been one uh, of the impacts that I have seen. Just Upper 90 right now being where it is, it's just
Yeah,
amazing to see what God can do through people that are willing to put the time.
I love it, man. And what do you? There's two things. It's so funny because I know what I want people. Let me just say it this way. One of the things that I enjoy about your organization is uh, the leadership that I see, not just from you, but from your staff, from the mentor coaches, I believe you call them, uh, and the way that people rally around these youth. And it's really like a family. It's truly a family. And And so, like, I want you guys to go over to his organization. And you guys know that 100% of our book proceeds for the first week is going to support any inner city youth programs like Jorge's in Upper 90. And so go check it out. They have a great organization. Would love for you guys to support what they're doing. Or you could just do one better. You could just buy 1,000 books so that they have a lifetime access to it and be a recipient. So kill two birds with one stone. What about that? When you order the book from our website, it'll direct you to Amazon, but you put your confirmation code. We want to give you access to a couple of special bonuses. Number one, we want to give you access to the first 5 lessons of my Purpose Made Profitable course. Number two, I want to give you a copy of the ebook. Number three, I want to give you an exclusive interview that I had with top 100 business coach, David Meltzer. And all the bonuses are listed there, and all the access I forgot that last live, the access to all the live recordings, so you get all the replays of the phenomenal guests like Jorge that we brought on. Jorge, what would you say you're the most passionate about?
One, the most passionate about, for me personally, I mean, two things come to mind, but the first thing just naturally for me is like when you experience like life transformation, like when you have been walking alongside, let's say, a group of kids, you know where they come from, you know the struggles they're facing, and then you see that change of mentality that, hey, no matter where I come from, that's not who I am. Here's how can I leverage. Like, I'll give you an example. We have kids that come from really rough backgrounds, and sometimes they feel like, hey, my life is just going to be this. But when you see that, they get to see that, like, hey, in God's sovereignty, He allowed you to grow up in a situation like this, and now your pain can become a treasure, not just for you, but the people that you're going to serve. And you see that switch, that 180-degree change, and now their pain has a purpose. For me, I mean, it's simple. Just seeing life transformation, people seeing that everything in life has a purpose, and that their life is not just for their own benefit, but hey, how can I leverage all of my life, even my baggage, to help other people find purpose? For me, it's kind of what every day allows us to keep serving, because being in the nonprofit world is challenging. I mean, some days it's just really challenging, but when you experience the life transformation, for me, it's like, you know what, that's why it's worth giving my life to this. So yeah, that'll be an example.
Yeah, I love it, man. What would you say is one of the hardest things about running a nonprofit organization?
Yeah, it's a good one. I feel like there's so many hats that I have to wear, right? Like when people ask my wife what your husband does, she said, "Well, he's a founder, CEO, secretary, plumber, all in the box." For me as a leader, I've been learning for the last years to know that I need to be able to get out of the way. I don't want to become the lead of a nonprofit. And again, when God gives you skills, and that's great, but at the same time, my job is how can I empower others to take the lead. But again, that was something that I noticed for me I wasn't good at, and it was hard because I'm like, man, I'm all about excellence. I want the way you clean that room has to be excellent. But at one time, I heard somebody say, hey, the people that you get to lead, if they do things that you do 100%, they do it 70%, you're blessed. I think one of the challenging part that I'm still learning is like, how can I get out of the way? How can I empower my teammates to go and allow them to learn by failing? Because the people that led me, I realized, like, man, they gave me so many opportunities to lead and to fall forward.
Yeah.
So I learned how in the last 2 years how I needed to do that better, not just in a nonprofit, but also at home with my own wife, with my own children. So that has been really impactful for my leadership journey.
Yeah. Love it, man. And I so respect your leadership. I'm actually looking across the room now at a book that you introduced me to called The Hero Maker. When you took your staff through that book, and that reminds me of you. It just caught my attention, and it brings the question of, I think you and I have exchanged book titles 3 or 4 times. Hey, have you read this? Have you read this? I think I still owe you a book that you gave to me or loaned me. I have it, by the way. I didn't lose it or anything. I can't remember which book it was. It was I just remember you said, "Hey, I need this one back," and I was like, "Okay," and then I forgot. But anyways, I still have it. I promise. But what would be some leadership resources if someone's watching this right now and they're like, "Man, I know I have leadership potential. I want to nurture that potential inside of me." What are some books that can help them grow in their leadership?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's just so many good stuff. But I mean, you mentioned that one, The Hero Maker. I love the idea of that book because it's all about like we all want to be the hero, right? We want to be the heroes, and again, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, but I think you can do better than that. Like hero doesn't stop there. Like the whole idea is, our job should be to create a platform where the people we serve can become the hero. So we help them become heroes, and as we do that, I think in a way you become the hero in a way, which is kind of interesting. So definitely,
Uh,
hero maker. I know one that we ran. One of my favorite ones when I went to grad school was Servant Leadership by Greenleaf, and just the whole idea that the impactful transformational leadership is through serving. And again, I know that sounds like in the culture that we live, that might be an oxymoron, but
mhm.
it's the reality that the most impactful transformational leadership I have experienced in my life is servant leadership. Like when you lead, are the people you're leading getting better? Are they growing, or is just Jorge getting better? That's what I would challenge. Well, that's not leadership. So that would be one, and then the last one will be the advantage by Patrick.
Mm,
That's one that I know. I'm reading it for the third time with
mm,
my team because again, that's something learning to have systems
yeah.
where you're going because it's not about being inspired and all that. We also have to have systems that those would be three resources. But again, there's so many stuff out there. I try to listen. I live in Atlanta, a lot of traffic, so I try to always make sure I'm listening to a podcast uh,
Mhm.
from a diverse group of people. But anyway, those will be three great resources: Hero Maker, Servant Leadership, and The Advantage.
I love it. I love it. What would you say? And here's what I'm gonna do. I don't know why. I just feel like doing something random, I guess. But I want to give away that books. I bought an extra copy, and I have it on my shelf, The Hero Maker. So if you're watching this right now and you're like, man, that book sounded interesting. I know that as much as I want to be the hero, that my purpose as a leader is to help empower other people to be the leader, and we'll give you that resource. Just let's do this. You can text me. Can you put our text number on the screen? Our help here in the background. There we go. See, text us 770-407-5177. And first person to text that number gets the book, Hero Maker. I'm gonna grab it in a second. Jorge, while I awkwardly leave the screen, can you talk to us about some of the best leadership principles that you have learned throughout the years?
For the years. I was saying in relation to the book that I just spoke about, the first principle is that true leadership is serving. And again, I know in the culture that we live, it sounds like an oxymoron, but I'm gonna give you this illustration that a mentor of mine gave me. And imagine you're sitting there in your office and you see a tree outside, okay? And if you were to look at that tree right now, like I'm looking right now outside my window, that tree is about this big, okay, from where I'm sitting. But if I was to leave my chair right now and walk to that tree, what's going to happen to the tree? It gets bigger, right?
It's bigger. Yep.
And, and that for me, that's one of the key principles of leading is that I lead by serving, meaning that the more, for me, personally, I'm in a faith, the more I walk in my faith in Christ, the more I'm getting closer to Him. Who's getting bigger, me or what's getting bigger? The tree, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the way I see it is like the more I'm growing in my faith in Christ, God is getting bigger, and because He's getting bigger, it's allowing me to be a better servant to the people that I serve.
That's
Because
good.
the way I see in the world, and I'm not criticizing, but just the way I see it, is that sometimes we feel that leadership is how can I make Jorge bigger? But I
Mm-hmm.
think that the greater impact I have as a leader is like how can I let God be bigger and lead to me? So that's the first one, just servant leadership. I go back and again, I'm sure the people that listen to you, they come from different backgrounds, faith, no faith, but I think still applies to you that when I look at the person of Jesus and and just the example he gave about leadership, transformational leadership, how think about it, 2000 plus years ago, and people talk about Jesus, the impact that he had.
Mm-hmm.
He was a coach and he had 12 people, and they were not Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, bench warmers, but they changed their lives because the way he led, it was by serving. And there's a story that it tells about him having his last meal where he gets on his knees and start to wash the disciples' dirty feet. And then he tells them and said, hey, you want to lead, you must be a servant. So I would say that that's definitely one of the key principles for me is that, hey, I want to lead. you lead by serving. So I think all of us have an opportunity, whether you person of faith, no faith, all of us have the opportunity to wake up and say, okay, how can I lead today by serving? And if you do that, I think you're going to see an impact that goes beyond you. So that'll be one of the key principles. The other one that, again, learning through different resources is about how can I multiply myself? Because guess what? I can impact about 12 players, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And so I started wrestling, nonprofit. How can we multiply that? And then I realized for us being in sports, we realized the impact of a coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of 12 athletes, I'm equipping 12 coaches. Those 12 coaches have anywhere from 20 to 30 players each. So another leadership principle for me is multiplication. How can you multiply? Because the more people you're equipping, the more people you're going to be serving.
That's so good, man. I so appreciate you. Guys, I'm going to read you this book and then we're going to let Jorge go today. Jorge, thank you so much for your time, brother. Really appreciate you. Hero Maker, I found it. See, it's right here. Brand new. Let me make sure this is the new one and not the one I wrote in. Okay, yeah. Because I like to take, I mark up my book. So, yep, this is brand new book. I have an extra here. And so let me put the number back on the screen. Yeah, if you want a free copy of this book, it's going to take a second for it to come to my phone. So I don't know if we'll be able to announce the person live because it is our community app. But you can text that number on the screen. It says, drawing on 5 powerful practices found in Jesus' ministry, Hero Maker presents practical strategies to multiply your dreams, initiate permission-giving conversations, develop an apprenticeship system that works, activate your leader's gifts, and develop a simple scoreboard that measures kingdom-building progress. Whether you lead 10 people or 10,000 people, Hero Maker will help you maximize your leadership and help shift the culture of your organization to model of reproduction and multiplication. We all need that, right? Become the rare breed of a leader who brings change into our world by sacrificially investing in others. So I'll give that away, and I'll announce the leader or the winner on the next live. We'll do that. Jorge, man, I love you, man. I miss you, man. I feel like we were communicating so much more before COVID, but it's so refreshing to hear your voice and see your smile, man. You've got to grow your beard back, man. But I want you guys to go support his work, man. It's such a phenomenal organization. I'm not just saying that because he agreed to be a part of our live series, but I really love the work that they do. When you see the program in action, it's just it'll bring you to tears because of the lives that are being changed, and they're raising up leaders and they're making a kingdom impact, and God's hand is upon them. So really thank you, Jorge, for your time, man. Any last things you want to leave the audience with?
Thank you, brother. No, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to come and share your story. And yeah, everybody listen to this. Make sure to check out your book, man. I'm excited to read it and continue to learn from you, bro. Thank you.
You got to add it to your collection, man. Guys, I want to encourage you. Speaking of the book, I want to invite you well, let me say this. First, our next guest is Kevin and Alan from the Hyperconscious podcast. They have done a billion podcast episodes, and they are sharp leaders who are going to talk to you about what they've learned over doing more than 200 or 300, I don't know how many hundreds of episodes that they've done, and some phenomenal guests that they brought on. I mean, one of those guys' names was Darryll Stinson, and it's just phenomenal. But they got people like Dean Graciaso, they've got leadership experts, they had David Meltzer on the podcast, so they're going to be talking about what they've learned and some of the challenges that they've just been through in their personal lives and how they've been able to leverage that to become hyper conscious, and then also just to help other people and really make an impact in society. So join us after this in about 30 minutes. We're going to bring them on and interview them both at the same time. And then I would wholeheartedly, let me slow down, because I really want you guys to join me for part of our virtual book launch party tonight. So the event's going to take place from 6 to 9 p.m. We're going to kick it off with a member of our book launch team. She's going to come and share some thoughts. I'm going to come and announce our scholarship fund and what we're doing to give back to inner city youth. Remember, 100% of all proceeds within the first week will go to support inner city youth programs. So buy now, not later, so that we can give more away. And then also, you'll hear from entertainers. My former teammate, Dan Lefevre, is going to be on. Another former NFL pro is going to be on. We didn't include soccer because that's not the real football. True story. I told that joke at one of his events and nobody laughed. It was the wrong community. They were like, no, we all think is. I know. They didn't laugh at me, Jorge. But anyways, so you'll get to hear from them, and then like most importantly at 8 o'clock, it's going to click off family time. And I told people this: I wasn't trying to find the biggest athlete I knew with the biggest platform in my network to come and sell more books. Although we're helping people, I really wanted this to be a celebration of my first published book, and so I invited my family. My mom, who threw herself on the hood of the car to stop me from going to commit suicide. My dad, who was so poor that in his family of 6, he had to share socks just to make ends meet. And my grandma, who drugged me to church when nobody else drugged me to church, and who was the person who actually shared Christ with me in the psychiatric unit. I want them to be a part of that. I'll remember that far longer than I'll ever remember, some big name person that I know that brought on who I care about, and so anyways, you guys get to be a part of that really special, intimate moment with us. And then, of course, if you access the book while the bonuses last, you'll get access to all the bonuses. Just go over to secondchanceathletes.com, click the book tab, and then you'll be able to access all the bonuses. Jorge, thank you for your time today, brother. I love you dearly. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the good that we can do together, both locally and globally.
Definitely, bro. Thank you for the opportunity. We'll be in touch. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Bye-bye.